Can you sum that up in one line? And your products and services. So what is it that you provide for your audience? Then just keep your company page updated to keep the Google search engines happy, okay? Now, LinkedIn suggests, and I can only assume this is for larger companies, to use the 3-2-1 model. Every week, try and publish 3 pieces of industry-related content, 2 pieces of feel-good content with making your employees and community feel good, and 1 piece of basically sales. So that's 6. They're suggesting you post on your company page 6 times a week. I know for most of you, it's a struggle to post on your LinkedIn personal profile more than a couple of times a week. So I would focus on doing that. And maybe if you want to, post on your company page once a week. Do check your analytics though and see an easy way to post content on your company page is when you look at your analytics and see if somebody else has mentioned your company page, you can just share that as your company post where somebody has mentioned you. And also remember, you can post under the 3 hashtags that your company page follows. So my focus would really be to set up your company page, have your about section all filled in, have your 3 hashtags so you can follow and post comment as your company on conversations under those hashtags. Check when someone has mentioned you. Fill in the tagline and the about section that really demonstrates what your company does. When you go to your personal profile, go in and make sure that you have your company logo under your experience section. So when you go to your experience section, then you see your company there, edit it, and on the drop down of the companies, start typing your company page name in there. It'll appear, and that pulls your logo across into your personal profile. But focus on writing posts on your personal account. And for me, the way I do this differently is I would tend to share my latest podcast episode on my company page, for example, or if I'm running a workshop or I'm speaking at a conference, I would put that kind of stuff on my company page. It's like almost like company news. Whereas what I post in my personal profile, where it says start a post, that is where I write conversation starters. Either I am sharing something that helps you with LinkedIn, or I'm asking you a question. So this morning I had a brilliant one-to-one session this morning with a very lovely client. Just kicked off my week really nicely. I was able to help her we walked through her LinkedIn profile, and I was making suggestions as to where I would change it and the strategic reasons behind that. And then we're able to cover a little bit about what kind of content she's going to post and how that's going to bring her business. So that was I love that kind of work. I really love working one-to-one with people. And I posted about that afterwards on LinkedIn to say, I started my week off really well. It's Monday morning. I've just literally 9 a.m. Monday morning done a one-to-one with somebody. It's really set me up well for the week, and asked my network, what are you going to do? How are you starting your week? And people are answering because people like to be heard. They like to give their opinions. They like to be asked about stuff. And I would not be putting that on my company page. That is very much a personal conversation that I'm having with my network. So hopefully that explains a little bit around how I use company pages differently to my personal profile, and the steps that you would take to just check over your company page and the types of content that you might be putting out on there. If you have any questions about the difference between the two, of course, I'd love to hear from you. Just get in touch on LinkedIn, drop me an email, louise@socialbni.com, send me a message on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, but I'm mainly on LinkedIn, so send it there. It's probably the best plan. And I'd love to hear from you. And if you are enjoying the podcast, I would love it. It would be really wonderful to grow the followers of the podcast and the listenership of the podcast in 2020. So if you are enjoying the podcast, could I ask you to do 2 things? You should never ask somebody to do 2 things. You should only ever ask them to do 1 thing. So apologies, but I'm going to ask you to do 2 anyway. Would you share the podcast with one other person that you think would find it useful? And the other thing would be, if you could find it in yourself to take a moment to go and leave me a review on Apple Podcasts, that would be wonderful, because that would help other people find the podcast as well. I'm just going to nip across and read out one of my recent reviews. I'm actually going to read 2 out because they're so lovely. So, Sioda Lingerie, I don't know, I'm sorry, I think that's an Irish word. I don't know how to pronounce it, sorry. Really enjoying Louise's podcast, but can't believe I've missed its existence. I know, I can't believe you have as well. Great tips, interesting interviews, and love her personality and mindset shining through. So delighted Louise niched to LinkedIn. Thank you very much, that's so lovely and so nice to read out. And the same day, I got another review by Will Create for Food, and it says, Louise delivers fantastic advice that gets results, but also manages to do it in a light and friendly way. Can't recommend highly enough. Well, thank you so much for those lovely reviews. Absolutely delighted to receive them. And hopefully that will help more people to find the podcast as well. So I will speak to you next week. In the meantime, if you would like to get my free LinkedIn profile tips checklist, go to socialbeni.com, and that's Buzzy B, socialbeni.com /LinkedIn freebies. And I will talk to you on the podcast next week. And thank you. And hopefully I will not have a cold then, because I will be eating lots of raw ginger and garlic between now and then. Okay, thanks guys. Bye. I hope you've enjoyed this episode of the Social Bee podcast. Come and join us over at www.socialbeni.com and let's start creating a buzz about your business. And if you like what you hear, please pop over to iTunes and leave me a review. I'd really appreciate it. See you next time.